Dorothy's clutches. Flying at our side, his sister Maud was carrying my unlikely companion, Ozma, Oz's mystery princess with mush for brains, whose many secrets were only now starting to become clear to me. Even as we sped into the clouds, the ground blurring below us, I was puzzling out the details of how we were flying at all. You've heard of winged monkeys, right? Well, Maud and Ollie were not exactly those, or at least they weren't supposed to be. Not anymore. Although they'd been born with wings, they had both had them removed. Ollie had cut his own wings off, to free himself from Dorothy's enslavement. As for Maud, I still shuddered when I thought about how she had lost hers. I hadn't just seen it happen. I had been the one to do it, sawing them from her back myself, using only a small dagger. Now this was a new Oz, not the pleasant magical kingdom you've heard about. That was a long time ago, long before I'd shown up. In Dorothy's Oz, you did what you had to do. You made hard choices. You traded flight for freedom if you had to, even if it meant losing a part of yourself. Sometimes, in Dorothy's Oz, you had to get your hands a little bloodied. Okay, maybe a lot bloodied. But even in Dorothy's Oz, there was still magic, which meant that what was removed could sometimes be replaced when you had the right spell, which was how the monkeys were now flying with paper wings that were buzzing like dragonflies, vibrating so fast they were just a blur. The wings didn't look like much. They were just two pairs of glued-together newsprint and scraps that barely looked like they should be able to support the weight of Ollie and Maud themselves, much less a 16-year-old girl like me. But here we were, 1,000 feet above the ground and going higher by the second. That was magic for you. Yes, I know it all sounds completely insane. To me, these days, it was just life. It's funny how quickly you adjust to insanity. And if you think all that's insane, try this on for size. In the past several hours, I had tried, and failed, to assassinate Dorothy Gale, the crown royal bitch of the magical land of Oz. I'd cut the Tin Woodman open and ripped out his heart with my bare hands. It was still beating with a mechanical tick-tock in the bag I had strapped across the bodice of my torn, bloody servant's costume, where I'd stuffed it for safekeeping. I had done all that. I was still getting used to it, but there was one thing I knew for sure that I hadn't done. I hadn't set the city on fire. But someone sure had. And now, as I watched the flaming city disappear behind me, I thought I knew who. I suddenly understood that everything I'd been doing back in the palace had made me only a small piece in a much more complicated machine. While I hid in the palace, the Emerald City had been under attack by the Revolutionary Order of the Wicked, the secret cell of terrorist witches for whom I had become a trained operative. While I had been infiltrating the palace ball, disguised as a servant as I tried to kill Dorothy, they had been laying the city to waste. I could only trust that they had their reasons. In a world turned upside down like this, where sweet little Dorothy Gale was evil, Glinda the Good was eviler, and most everyone else was either scheming or scrambling to stay out of the way, there were crazier things you could do than putting your trust in people who called themselves wicked. Not that I really did trust the Order entirely, but trust was almost beside the point. I was one of them, whether I liked it or not. And while I trusted some of them more than others, I had left all of them back there. Mombi.